Hey, okay, at the Mountains of Madness, one of my favorite stories that I've read over 2017. I read this because of this challenge over October, Halloween, and one of them was read a classic horror story, so I figured, hey, I'll read this. I love H.P. Lovecraft, and I knew of this, I was aware of it, but I don't know why this particular story I didn't read sooner. But I loved it, I thought it was great. I know some people who hated it, they couldn't even get through it because at first he goes on and on and on. It's rather slow and boring. I recommend, if you can't deal with that, just cut right to when they get to Antarctica and read it from there, because it's like one thing happening right after the other there. I think that he just wants you to get to know some of the characters and get to know what happened on the previous expedition and have some background information first so that you can get more into the story. H.P. Lovecraft really does like to put a lot of detail in his book. And because he does, a lot of artists are really good at rendering his creatures. I mean, they do it based on, how he explains it. Such as the Elder Things and the Shoggoths that the Elder Things created and other creatures. And this is a Shoggoth, and these were genetically engineered by the Old Ones and Elder Things to, help build the city, and it helped them in their these conflicts were big. I don't know why I said that. And helped them in their major conflicts. And this is a Shoggoth, and this is what they look like. And then here's an Old One / Elder Thing. Alright, so, now that you have a visual idea about what some of these creatures look like, okay, that should help somewhat. Basically what it is that their expedition. And, I love stories about expeditions and, you don't know what's going to be around the next corner and the tension is building and something bad's going to happen. I like that kind of a story. And, things go wrong from almost the very beginning. They discover these creatures, okay? It's a disaster, really, this whole trip. They go to these mountain ranges in Antarctica that are supposed to be higher than the Himalayas, and they find these creatures, and it just goes downhill from there. People end up missing, blood everywhere, people dead, and they find this city, and the city has sculptures and murals and artifacts that kind of explain to them so that they can come up with some sort of a basic idea by piecing together all these things that they find. And this is like a huge city. It's like a labyrinth. And, a lot of it is underground, and all these tunnels and ridges and chasms, and I can't even begin to do it justice with how I explain it. But they keep, going forward. No matter what they see, no matter what happens, the creatures look horrific. They figure out what the Shoggoths were created for. They think that these might have been an alien race that came down, but it was all prehistoric, it was all pre-human. They come across like 6-foot tall penguins, and that's the least of their worries. I mean, the penguins don't give a shit about them. But I'll tell you what, if I saw a 6-foot penguin coming around the corner, I'd be like, okay, I'm done exploring this city. But they go on, and they find worse. And it all culminates when these penguins start stampeding, because something is coming around the corner that's pretty darn awful. And they see it, and they're just terrified. They're absolutely terrified. And they're like running through the city, and it's all intense because you're like, oh, what are they trying to get away from? But it turns out that some Shoggoths, or at least one, is still alive in that city. And there are other Elder Things in there. They're the ones that, kind of came back to life at the campsite. And that's why there was this disaster, because they had taken them to study them. They thought they were dead, and apparently they weren't. And, if you thought they were scary, well then, meet the Shoggoths. I know it sounds really, really weird, but if you look at these pictures of these things, you'll see why these people were terrified. I just loved the way they explained everything, and just anything that's like exploring and new creatures and new worlds, Like he really did a good job at world building. Well, at the end, I do have to say this. I don't think I'm ruining the book by telling you, but let's just say that at the end, when they're in the airplane and the Professor Dyer, looks out the window, he sees something that drives him insane, that his mind just cannot comprehend. And this was something that the murals and sculptures in the city were alluding to, that there was another mountain range that was even higher than that mountain range behind it. Now keep in mind that this mountain range was supposed to be as high as the Himalayas, and then there's this other mountain range behind it that is even bigger than that. And the murals were alluding to something hideous living behind that mountain. And H.P. Lovecraft leaves it to you to decide what the guy sees at the end, but it's as the plane is going over the mountain. And it freaking kills me because I wanted to know what this thing was. Maybe he didn't see anything. Maybe he saw the Shoggoth again. Maybe he just went insane because when he was thinking about everything that, he came across, while he was decompressing, it just drove him out of his mind. I don't know. Lovecraft was very, very sneaky there. Okay? He goes into detail about every dang thing, and then right there at the end, nope, I'm not going to give you any detail. It's up to you. That's pretty sneaky, and that's mean. Mean, mean, mean. But anyway, I really love this story, and I think you should give it a try. Believe me, I know I told you a lot, but I didn't even cover the surface. I mean, the story is not ruined for you. So, that's my review for At the Mountains of Madness. Thanks for stopping by.